Happy Wednesday, everybody. It is a beautiful Wednesday morning on The Rich Report, bringing you the richest content in all of sports and entertainment. My name is David Church, along with my beautiful co-host Cameron Richardson and Johnny Crane. Cameron, how you doing, buddy?
Beautiful co-host, huh?
Yeah.
I'll take it. It's a lovely day. I got the playoff goatee activated. The Lakers lost to the Trailblazers last night. I'm loving life right now. It's a beautiful day to be alive.
Are you saying the goatee is what caused the Lakers to lose?
100%, and it's the reason why the Clippers won on Monday night. So yes, all credit will go to the playoff goatee. So
I think all got to give it up to the hair. All to the hair. So let's get right into it. Like Cam said, the Lakers lost to the Portland Trailblazers. Damian Lillard is as hot as ever. And not only did the one seed in the Western Conference lose, the one seed in the Eastern Conference lost game one as well, with the Magic taking game one against the Bucks. So, Cam, I will ask you first, are these number one seeds, both in the Western Conference and Eastern Conference, in trouble after one game?
I don't want to be the guy that's like, oh, well, the Lakers and Bucks are going to get swept now. I'm not Charles Barkley, okay? But there are major concerns on both sides. I mean, I look at these teams, and from my memory, these are, I think, the weakest one seeds we've seen in a long, long time. Milwaukee, yes, they have Giannis. Chris Middleton is also an all-star, but, man, can they not hit a free throw to save their lives. I believe – hold on, let me confirm this real quick on missed free throws for the Milwaukee Bucks, and they missed. Oh God, no! Where is it? They missed 10 free throws. They missed 10 free throws and lost by 12. And they're one of the weaker free throw shooting teams in the league. They were bottom 6. And also their turnovers. But, I mean, their turnovers weren't as bad because Orlando had just as much. But 12, they lost by 12. And how many free throws did you miss? 10. So, kids, please, for the love of God, make your free throws. Always practice. Free throws, if you're playing any type of competitive basketball, you should be shooting free throws on the daily because it will contribute to team losses if you don't make them. And then on the Lakers side, I mean, my God, that game was just disgusting last night. That was an awful, awful basketball game. Don't tell me that all close games are exciting because, while, yes, the ending was exciting, the game overall was terrible. Just missed shots, just poor offensive execution on both ends. Neither team really getting hot at any single point other than Damian Lillard turning it on late in the fourth quarter. If your name wasn't LeBron or Anthony Davis, you shot 17 of 53 from the field, 422 from beyond the arc, and LeBron and AD also didn't contribute as well, 1 of 10 from 3. Anthony Davis didn't play great. It was most of his points came from free throws. LeBron had a triple-double, like filled the stat sheet, but it still didn't seem like he made that much of an impact. Danny Green and KCP just, what the hell are they doing on the court? I don't know. I guess it's just the Lakers' age is showing against a younger team. I mean, Portland didn't even play great last night, and they're without Zach Collins. So I think the Lakers are in bigger trouble than the Bucks. But, I mean, both teams, if they can't turn around their negatives in the next 3 games, we might be looking at 2 8 seeds advancing to the second round.
Let's start with the Magic and the Bucks. Now, look, I think the Lakers are the team to worry about more than the Bucks, but the Bucks aren't innocent either, okay? They got outscored by the Magic, and the Magic were without 2 of their better players, in Jonathan Isaac and Aaron Gordon, and they still were pressuring inside in the paint. They were dominating on the inside, and they were without 2 of their big guys, one of the guys that's in the dunk contest practically every single season. Okay, but I think that the Bucks will eventually pull off because they have the Greek Freak. I think they have a little more depth than I think the Lakers have, and that's why I'm going to talk about the Lakers a little bit, because when you think of LeBron James, since dating back to his second tenure with the Cleveland Cavaliers, the team structure around him has been a little bit the same. You have some nice couple star players behind LeBron, but your bench, for the most part, it could have a nice game, but for the most part, it's just there. The Lakers bench is just there, and it was just there, or practically it wasn't there last night. Like Cameron said, they shot horribly. And I think this is the problem, especially as LeBron gets older. He was the first player in NBA playoff history ever to have 20-plus points, 15-plus rebounds, and 15-plus assists and still lose. He got a triple-double, and they still lost. To me, if that doesn't tell me that your depth is a problem, then I don't know what does. Because if you want to win in the later rounds against the Clippers of the world and so on, you need to have really, really good depth. And I don't think behind Davis and behind LeBron, that depth is really consistent enough to really vault them to a potential final. Yes, Kuzma can have a nice game. Yes, some of their other bench players can have a nice game, but consistently over the campaign of a playoff season, I just don't see that consistency happening. So while both teams do have problems, I think the Bucks have a little more depth to really offset some of the other flaws on their team than the Lakers do. Now, look, both teams have problems. The Magic could pull it off. The Blazers could pull it off, but I think the likelier team, the likelier outcome to pull it off would be from the Blazers because they have that, I guess, a little more depth than the Lakers do.
Now, I think that I don't think teams are in trouble yet. It's only one game, and game one does make a difference. But you have to remember that there's no home field advantage or anything like that. So it is strictly a neutral ground pickup game that these teams are playing the playoffs in. Now, I will say though, I feel like the Lakers have a bigger chance of losing in the first round than the Bucks, because this is a Portland team that is clicking right now. And what do we say what they needed to do in order to make a deep run? They needed to get key performances from their supporting cast, and that's what they did in game one. Carmelo Anthony had a double-double, 11 points, 10 rebounds. Yusuf Nurkic had a double-double, 16 points, 15 rebounds. CJ McCollum had 21, as well as that second scoring option. Even Hassan Whiteside off the bench had 8 rebounds. That team knows how to score.
You made a great point about the neutrality here. That's a big deal, not having any fans, not having that hostile road environment. But another big thing that gets overlooked is you don't have to travel anywhere. You stay in that same area. You get to rest longer. If you're hurting, you get all that time to rest instead of getting on a plane and going 30,000 feet in the air and flying somewhere else and having to wait on that recovery time. So if you're down in a series, it's gonna be even harder to try and come back and mount a comeback in a series to potentially take it. So Portland and Orlando, them winning game one is a lot bigger than what people are going to take it as.
Definitely. So let's move on to some MLB action. Fernando Tatis Jr., probably one of the top young stars of the MLB right now. Put him in there with Bo Bichette, put him in there with Vlad Jr. He's the top guy right now. He goes off against the Texas Rangers, hits 2 home runs, one of them being a grand slam, and the Padres just dismantle the Rangers in a game. I believe the score was already 10-2 in the 8th, if I'm not wrong. So Fernando Tatis is in a 3-0 count, and usually, 3-0 you take. You want to feel it out and see if it's something you really like. Fernando Tatis doesn't take the 3-0 count. He ropes the ball to straight right center field and hits a grand slam. Now, some people were not happy about this. And what happened when Manny Machado came up the next at-bat? He gets thrown at. So, Johnny, give us your thoughts on this whole situation. What did he do right? What did he do wrong? Did he do anything wrong? Did he do anything right? What's the situation for you in this point?
Well, the whole situation, the Rangers did not like that on a 3-0 count, Tatis was slamming away even though the score was heavily in favor of the Padres. That's their whole mindset. That's why they didn't like him. That's why they threw at Machado one at bat later. Did Tatis do anything wrong? No, he did not. He played the game. I'm sorry. This is Major League Baseball. These are millionaires playing. These are the best athletes on the baseball level in the world playing against each other. There is no such thing as a mercy rule in Major League Baseball. There shouldn't be. And when you retaliate and when you throw a bad pitch and someone hurts you for it, you retaliate by throwing at someone else the next at bat later. to me, that just cries sore loser to me. And I know that, some of the traditionalists aren't going to like it. Yes, it was 10-3, but again, it doesn't matter. You're still playing a game. Comebacks still happen, especially in a homer-happy environment that Major League Baseball is right now. You can come back in 1.5 innings if you could. And there was still enough time for the Rangers to come back. It was at home for them, so they had the final at-bats anyway. This should be a development opportunity. And again, Tatis is very young. He's a star already, but he still needs to get his work in, especially in a shortened season, especially where practice is already limited enough. Why hurt him for pretty much utilizing an extra opportunity to get some hacks in that maybe he wouldn't otherwise? If it was, say, a 2-1 game. If it was a 2-1 game, does he take that pitch? He might. But in a 10-3 game or whatever it was, he has that opportunity to sort of expand his skill set a little bit and to get some more hacks in than he would otherwise. I'm sorry. The Rangers, Chris Woodward, you might be my Fruit Loop of the week on Friday. Throw a better pitch, play a little bit better, and you wouldn't be in that situation to begin with. There's no such thing as a mercy rule. Period. The end. Cameron, go ahead.
Yeah, and it's not just an MLB thing that this shouldn't be looked down on. This isn't even a thing in Little League. I mean, my brother's Little League teams and All-Stars, they put up 34 runs in 4 innings. And the managers, because they were scoring so much, they forced my brother and the rest of his teammates to bat with the opposite hand, and they were still getting hits. This is not something that should be taught at any level. Just take walks if you have whatever count. Because let's say you can follow 3-1, and so now that it's back in the pitcher's hand. And then you hit a foul ball, it's now 3-2, and now you got to protect the plate. So it's really dumb. It wasn't even like it was a 25-1 score. It wasn't a ridiculous score. Fine. Take the walk if you're up by 24 runs, but it's still a single-digit game. It was a blowout, but it wasn't like ridiculous to, you guys really need to take it back a notch real quick. And it's still professional baseball. I'm sorry. If you're in the pros and you're getting angry about getting blown out, you probably shouldn't be in the pros, or you're probably not good enough to be in the pros. So Texas Rangers, bad, but I mean, I'm not surprised. It's 2020 and Texas has been just disgusting this year. So
here's what needs to happen for baseball to actually be cool. One, pitchers need to get over themselves and stop having huge egos and think that they're the precious little princesses in the world. And when something bad happens to them, they cry about it. Stop doing that. No one cares. No one likes it. Two, we need to get over these stupid unwritten rules. I get it. Baseball is 100 years old, over 100 years old, and it is a thing that has been a part of our country for forever. But we need to get over these mentalities and these ideas that are based from the 1900s. Let's get over that. It is 2020. It is time for us to actually start looking cool and actually appealing to young audiences. Because if you don't, baseball's going to die. And if baseball's going to die, then there's no point in us even trying at this point. Moving on to our next topic, we got some Coyotes and Avalanche series talk and some hockey talk. So for that, we're going to bring in our very good friend, Kristen Chancellor. She's a little sideways right now. We'll let her figure that out for a second. There she is. Kristen, how you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Doing well. So we got the Avalanche and the Coyote series. Avalanche up 3-1, dismantled the Coyotes in the last game. What are your thoughts on the series, and what is your surprise first round series in the Stanley Cup playoffs so far?
Yeah. I mean, the Coyotes and Avalanche have both had great seasons in the regular season, and coming into the 2014 playoffs and everything, they've definitely both made a huge impact. I think no one expected the Coyotes to get this far, and they've held their own surprisingly. They're pretty even matched with the Avalanche when it comes to power plays and game points, but the Avalanche just seem to have it on them right now. They have the strength and they have the speed, especially with their top line of Rantanen, McKinnon, and Landeskog. That line is one of the best in the NHL. And so to have them going against the Coyotes that look exhausted on the ice right now, the Avs take the lead. But I think Coyotes are just trying to make it right now. I know they've had a couple injuries with their top players, but they're a great young team, especially they have defenseman Jacob Chikrin, which is such a huge asset and plays great two-way hockey. So having that go against the Avs is they don't have a strong defense. The Avs have a strong offense. So when you have a young defenseman coming in, the Coyotes take it on that one. But the Avs look to be taking the series, but you never know. The Coyotes could surprise you at the last second.
Johnny, what are you thinking, bud?
When you look at the Coyotes' philosophy and you look at when you look at the Coyotes' strength of their team and you look at the Avalanche strength of their team, they're pretty much opposites of each other. Yes, the Avalanche have really good goaltending, but when you have Darcy Kemper, pretty much they have the edge in goaltending, and they have a really nice defense too. They're going up against, like Kristen said, the top line, which is arguably the best in the NHL, and they have a bunch of nice supplementary lines underneath them. So you have a really good offense against a really good goaltending unit and a pretty solid defensive unit as well. The issue is, though, as we've seen as the series has progressed, was that the Avalanche absolutely dismantled the Coyotes the other day. 7-1 was the score. And this is the problem I have with the Coyotes and sort of the mindset of building around elite goaltending and having just enough offense. That can work in the regular season and that can work for a few series in the playoffs. But when you come down to it, you need to have a top line. You need to have a good offensive line on the power play and shorthanded and at even strength. And I don't think the Coyotes have that right now consistently enough. And when the Avalanche are able to dismantle your team and dismantle your strength to the point where Darcy Kemper was pulled midway through the game, that's a problem to me. And that tells me that the Coyotes are now at a severe disadvantage. They're on life support right now. They're playing for their series and playoff hopes today. But overall, I think the Coyotes have a good foundation. I just think they need to supplement and add to that foundation. I think they can get a little more offense. Maybe Phil Kessel has a better year next season. If you can get a little more offense to add to that nice goaltending and defensive unit, I think they can go places. However, it still is a long way to go. And when you compare that to the Colorado Avalanche, again, they have good goaltending. They have a great offense. They have enough defensive players. They just have more overall balance. And when you have overall balance, I've been saying it for the Major League Baseball playoffs. I've been saying it for the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs. To me, I'll take overall roster balance on offense, defense, and goaltending over a significant strength of just goaltending or just offense. So give me the overall balance. And I think that's why Colorado has really taken the bull by the horns in this series against Arizona.
Let's be honest here, and I hate to trigger the Coyotes fans, but this was a mismatch from the get-go. The Avs just have too much firepower. I mean, their firepower is equivalent to the Dynasty Blackhawks on that first line. Landeskog, McKinnon, Rantanen, ridiculous. Then you have Cale Makar also, who's just an absolute stud. I mean, it reminds you of Duncan Keith, Brent Seabrook, Patrick Sharp, Patrick Kane, and Jonathan Toews all on the same line. So this team right now is looking like they're walking. I think they're going to cakewalk through the Western Conference. That's what it's looking like right now. Because I just don't think anybody else can match them. Sadly, the Vegas Golden Knights had to advance to the second round, so not too pleased about that. But I think Colorado, if they run into each other, I think Colorado will take care of them. But yeah, I really enjoy watching this Colorado team, and they're going to complete the series tonight, and they will move on to the second round.
Before you say anything about the Coyotes, just remember where the Kings are. All right, we're going to move on to our next segment, which is Wholesome Wednesday. We'll keep it short. This is my mom's birthday today, so happy birthday to Mama Church. Love you to death. Sorry I can't be there to celebrate with you, but that's going to be it for the end of the show. Thank you, Kristen, so much for joining us. For my co-hosts, Cameron and Johnny, have a great rest of your day. Subscribe to The Rich Report. Like us on YouTube. Check out our articles online, and have a great rest of your day. We'll see you on Friday.